The following presentation is designed and intended strictly for educational and entertainment purposes only. The information provided regarding career guidance programs, employment markets, salary negotiation tactics, and professional development strategies does not constitute formal professional, legal, financial, or psychological advice. We are not licensed career counselors, accredited financial advisors, or employment attorneys. The historical trends, case studies, and potential outcomes discussed in this presentation are illustrative and depend heavily on individual circumstances, fluctuating macroeconomic conditions, and dynamic regional job markets. Engaging in career transitions, investing in professional development programs, or altering your employment status inherently involves substantial risk. There are no assurances of employment, specific salary benchmarks, or career satisfaction. Viewers are strongly advised to conduct comprehensive independent due diligence, research current labor market data, and consult with qualified, licensed professionals before making any significant professional or financial decisions. Your career trajectory is your sole responsibility, and reliance on any information presented here is strictly at your own discretion and risk. Right now, in corporate offices and remote workspaces across the United States, a quiet and pervasive crisis is unfolding. Recent labor market data, psychological workplace studies, and historical employment trends indicate a staggering reality. A vast, overwhelming majority of the American workforce is profoundly disengaged, actively looking for an exit strategy, or completely paralyzed by the fear of technological obsolescence. Consider the highly controversial reality that the conventional wisdom fed to generations of Americans, the absolute mandate to simply follow your passion, has historically proven to be one of the most incomplete and structurally detrimental foundations for building a sustainable, resilient career. This specific advice has led countless individuals into highly saturated, low-yielding sectors, leaving them burdened with crippling educational debt and severely limited upward mobility in a ruthlessly competitive modern market. Let us examine a typical case study that accurately reflects broader, systemic demographic trends across the country. Imagine a dedicated professional who invested nearly $200,000 in 7 years of their life, acquiring advanced specialized degrees to enter corporate litigation, fundamentally because it was deemed a prestigious, secure, and socially elevated pathway. 3 years into the profession, they are consistently working 80-hour weeks, entirely depleted physically and mentally, and realizing they utterly despise the fundamental nature of the daily work. They are trapped by what behavioral economists call the sunk cost fallacy, the psychological inability to abandon a trajectory because of the immense time and capital already invested, and the golden handcuffs of a recurring salary they can no longer afford to walk away from due to lifestyle inflation and aggressive debt obligations. This is not an isolated, anecdotal incident. It is a systemic, repeating pattern visible across medicine, engineering, finance, and academia. Every single day, millions of highly capable professionals wake up feeling entirely disconnected from the economic value they produce. They recognize clearly that their chosen industries are rapidly and violently transforming. The aggressive integration of advanced artificial intelligence into white-collar cognitive workflows, the persistent, compounding pressure of inflation, the destabilization of traditional corporate hierarchies, and the massive shift toward fractional or contract-based employment are fundamentally rewriting the established rules of job security. In direct response to this widespread professional anxiety, a massive, highly fragmented, and largely unregulated industry has exploded: the career guidance, executive coaching, and professional development sector. These programs strategically market themselves as the ultimate structural solution, offering proprietary frameworks, exclusive networking blueprints, and psychological reprogramming to help you pivot, scale, and secure your professional future in an increasingly unstable world. But here is the critical, high-stakes open loop that we must address today. What exactly is happening behind the closed doors of these premium career guidance programs? When a professional willingly pays $3,000, $5,000, or even $10,000 to a specialized career strategist, what tangible, measurable assets are they actually receiving in return? Are these organizations leveraging sophisticated, data-driven psychometric evaluations and predictive labor market analytics? Or are they simply providing glorified, overpriced resume formatting disguised alongside generic motivational platitudes? More importantly, there is a distinct, hidden architecture to the American job market, a systemic, unwritten methodology that elite professionals actively utilize to navigate complex transitions, negotiate top-tier compensation packages, and completely bypass the traditional, highly restrictive online application process entirely. By the end of this comprehensive, uncompromising masterclass, you will uncover the precise step-by-step methodologies these high-ticket coaching programs utilize behind closed doors. You will discover the critical, undeniable warning signs that instantly indicate a program is a poor investment or a predatory scheme. And you will understand the exact, reproducible frameworks you need to effectively navigate your own professional crossroads. The definitive promise of this deep dive is to equip you with a granular, highly technical, and completely demystified understanding of the career guidance ecosystem currently operating in the United States. We are going to fundamentally deconstruct the entire life cycle of a comprehensive career intervention, leaving no stone unturned and avoiding all superficial summaries. We will look far past the polished marketing jargon and meticulously examine the empirical, functional components of these services. For the modern American workforce currently facing unprecedented macroeconomic shifts and technological disruption today, possessing this specialized knowledge is no longer just a competitive advantage. It is an absolute necessity for long-term survival and sustained economic growth. You will learn exactly step by step what to expect when you first engage a premium career professional. We will break down the critical initial assessment phase, detailing precisely how legitimate, evidence-based programs utilize standardized behavioral, cognitive, and personality evaluations. We will examine tools like the Hogan assessments, advanced applications of the strong interest inventory, and detailed behavioral psychometrics, showing how they are used to accurately map your inherent operational style, risk tolerance, and leadership potential against current, real-time market demands. We will explore comprehensively how these programs approach the often daunting task of identifying and translating transferable skills. Countless professionals falsely believe their accumulated expertise is hyper-niche and completely isolated to their current failing industry. We will look at specific historical case studies demonstrating exactly how a highly specialized structural engineer successfully transitioned into lucrative technical product management, or how an exhausted clinical healthcare worker seamlessly pivoted into high-level operations consulting, simply by mathematically translating their daily operational functions into the specific corporate vocabulary of a completely different, thriving sector. Furthermore, this masterclass solves the persistent, demoralizing problem of the black hole application process that plagues modern job seekers. We will rigorously examine the historical trends and current data regarding the hidden job market, analyzing mathematically why a significant percentage of the most lucrative, secure positions are never publicly advertised on standard corporate job boards or aggregation websites. You will learn the exact methodologies career programs teach regarding strategic, high-leverage relationship building, the precise structure of an effective informational interview, and the technical tactics required for bypassing automated, algorithm-driven applicant tracking systems that automatically reject highly qualified candidates based on arbitrary keyword constraints. We will also dissect the critical psychological and performative components of elite career guidance. A significantly large portion of professional stagnation is not due to a lack of technical skill, but is deeply rooted in unaddressed imposter syndrome, poor negotiation conditioning, and a fundamental lack of executive presence. We will detail the potential outcomes of targeted, high-pressure interview coaching and aggressive negotiation role-play. We will show you exactly how professionals are trained to clearly articulate their unique value proposition, leverage core negotiation concepts like the best alternative to a negotiated agreement, establish strong psychological anchors during compensation discussions, and command the absolute maximum compensation they actually merit based on rigorous historical market data, rather than emotional pleas or financial desperation. If you are a mid-career professional feeling the structural corporate ceiling pressing heavily down on you, if you are a senior executive contemplating a radical, high-risk industry shift, or if you are simply a forward-thinking individual trying to systematically future-proof your livelihood against the incoming inevitable wave of technological displacement, this information is explicitly designed to provide you with a stark, realistic, and highly actionable strategic blueprint. We are entirely stripping away the polished illusion and presenting the raw fundamental mechanics of advanced career strategy. You will be uniquely positioned to objectively measure the potential return on investment of hiring external professional guidance, and far more importantly, you will be fully equipped to apply these exact same high-level, premium strategies to your own professional trajectory. This ensures that your next major career maneuver is driven entirely by empirical data, strategic foresight, and historical market trends. The moment you officially onboard with a premium career guidance firm in 2026, The entire paradigm of how you view your professional identity is fundamentally dismantled and reconstructed. You are immediately pulled out of the theoretical realm and thrust into what industry insiders refer to as the forensic audit phase. The vast majority of the American public falsely assumes that the first session with a career strategist involves sitting across a polished mahogany desk or jumping on a standard video call to casually discuss your hopes, your dreams, and what you are passionate about. This is a dangerous misconception. In high-tier, empirically driven programs, the first 30 days involve almost zero resume writing and absolutely no interview practice. Instead, you are subjected to a rigorous, exhaustive battery of psychometric evaluations and behavioral data collection, designed to strip away your own professional blind spots and cognitive biases. Imagine if you spent 15 grueling years climbing the corporate ladder in commercial real estate, consistently fighting a pervasive sense of burnout and imposter syndrome, only to have empirical psychometric data definitively prove that your core operating system is structurally misaligned with the highly transactional nature of that industry. By the end of this intensive 30-day intake and assessment cycle, the ambiguity that plagues most job seekers is entirely eradicated. You no longer have a vague idea of your strengths. You possess a highly structured, data-backed professional thesis. You know your core drivers, your definitive derailers under stress, and the exact environmental conditions required for your specific psychological profile to generate maximum economic value. You have a pristine, scientifically validated blueprint of your professional architecture. But here is the critical underlying problem that catches even the most prepared professionals completely off guard. Having a perfect blueprint of your capabilities means absolutely nothing if you do not know how to force the corporate gatekeepers to actually look at it. What happens when this pristine, heavily researched data collides with the brutal, algorithmically driven reality of the modern applicant tracking systems? In the next phase of this masterclass, we will expose exactly how premium career programs weaponize your assessment data to completely bypass the traditional application process, effectively forcing you into the hidden job market where the most lucrative, unadvertised positions are quietly filled behind closed doors. The reality of the 2026 labor market is that the traditional online application process has fundamentally devolved into a highly sophisticated, algorithmically impenetrable black hole. When you submit a resume through a standard corporate portal, you are not communicating with a human being. You are engaging in an asymmetrical battle against advanced applicant tracking systems, which are currently powered by aggressive natural language processing algorithms calibrated specifically to reject candidates, not to discover them. Historical trends in recent labor market analytics indicate that up to 80% of highly qualified resumes are instantaneously discarded by these systems before a human recruiter ever lays eyes on them, simply because they lack precise keyword optimization or fail arbitrary formatting parameters. Elite career guidance programs understand this mathematically hostile environment intimately. Therefore, they mandate a complete psychological and strategic shift in how their clients approach job acquisition. They do not teach you how to simply apply better. They teach you how to circumvent the digital gatekeepers entirely. This brings us to the operational core of premium career strategy: infiltrating the hidden job market. The hidden job market is not a conspiracy. It is a structural reality of corporate risk mitigation. From the perspective of a director or a vice president of operations, hiring a new employee is an incredibly high-risk maneuver. A bad hire costs a company tens of thousands of dollars in lost productivity, onboarding resources, and potential cultural disruption. To mitigate this risk, hiring managers overwhelmingly prefer to fill lucrative, senior-level positions through trusted internal referrals, lateral industry networks, and known commodities long before a job requisition is ever officially approved and posted publicly. Career strategists train you to become that known commodity. They teach you to systematically identify and engage the actual decision-makers, the individuals who hold the budget and feel the daily operational pain, rather than submitting your credentials to an overworked human resources coordinator who fundamentally does not understand the technical nuances of your profession. Let us examine the case study of David, a 44-year-old senior data architect based in Seattle, Washington. In early 2026, David was desperately trying to exit a toxic corporate environment. He spent 4 months aggressively applying to over 200 publicly listed roles on major job boards, carefully tailoring his resume each time. The result was a demoralizing string of automated rejection emails and complete silence. When David engaged a high-tier career guidance program, his strategist immediately halted all online applications. They introduced a concept known as targeted organizational mapping, Instead of looking for open job postings, David was instructed to identify 20 highly specific, rapid growth companies in the Pacific Northwest where his precise psychometric profile, which we discussed in the assessment phase, would thrive. Once the target companies were isolated, the career program taught David how to utilize advanced professional networking platforms not to apply for jobs, but to map the internal organizational hierarchy. He was trained to identify the exact directors of engineering or vice presidents of data infrastructure who would theoretically be his future bosses. The guidance program then provided David with a highly structured, historically proven framework for cold outreach. This is a critical point of differentiation. Standard career advice tells you to reach out and ask for a job, which instantly positions you as a liability and a beggar. Elite programs train you to reach out as an industry peer seeking localized market intelligence. David was taught to construct highly concise, psychologically calibrated messages requesting a 15-minute informational interview. The messaging specifically avoided any mention of seeking employment. Instead, it focused entirely on a mutual area of highly technical industry disruption, leveraging David's deep expertise to secure the meeting. Imagine if you entirely stopped asking companies to hire you, and instead started asking targeted executives how they are navigating specific, highly complex industry bottlenecks. When you ask for a job, you get defensive rejection. When you ask for operational insight from a place of peer-level competence, you often get a meeting. This is the exact psychological pivot career programs enforce. During these secured 15-minute informational interviews, the strategist trains the client to execute a very specific conversational architecture. You are not there to pitch your resume. You are there to ask highly calibrated questions about the executive's current operational pain points, their strategic roadmap for the next 2 quarters, and the specific deficits in their current team structure. By executing this framework, David uncovered that a major logistics firm in Bellevue was secretly struggling with a massive database migration, a project they had not yet publicly hired for because they were still defining the scope of the problem. Because David had positioned himself as a consultative peer rather than a desperate applicant, he was able to casually articulate how he had successfully navigated a nearly identical migration in his previous role. He did not ask for a job. He simply demonstrated extreme competence regarding their exact, unadvertised operational pain. 2 weeks later, the vice president of engineering completely bypassed the HR department, created a bespoke role specifically tailored to David's expertise, and offered him the position before it was ever formally drafted as a public listing. This methodology requires intense discipline and a high tolerance for calculated outreach. Career guidance programs meticulously track their clients' conversion rates during this phase, treating the job search exactly like a high-level corporate sales pipeline. They monitor how many executives you have mapped, how many direct messages you have dispatched, how many informational interviews you have secured, and what specific intelligence you have extracted from those conversations. If a client is failing to secure meetings, the strategist will forensically audit the outreach messaging, adjusting the tone, the subject lines, and the specific value proposition until the historical conversion data aligns with industry standards. They train you to effectively build a proprietary, highly targeted professional network from scratch, effectively insulating you from the brutal volatility of public job boards. However, successfully bypassing the applicant tracking systems and securing a direct audience with a high-level decision-maker is only half of the equation. You have successfully navigated the hidden job market and placed yourself directly in the room with the person who holds the budget. But what happens when that informal 15-minute conversation suddenly shifts, the executive leans forward, and they transition the discussion into a high-stakes, rigorous behavioral interview? Your targeted networking has forced the door open, but if your executive presence and your ability to articulate your localized value proposition fail in that exact moment, the opportunity instantly evaporates. How do elite career programs systematically train their clients to dominate these high-pressure, unscripted interrogations, and what are the specific psychological frameworks used to instantly command authority in a room full of senior stakeholders? The exact moment that conversational pivot occurs, the entire power dynamic of the room instantly crystallizes. You are no longer engaging in a casual exploratory networking chat. You have actively crossed the threshold into a high-stakes, unscripted executive interrogation. This is precisely where standard, generic interview advice completely collapses. If you rely on the foundational elementary tactics you learned a decade ago, simply memorizing your resume and politely reciting the STAR method, you will inevitably be systematically dismantled by a room full of seasoned senior stakeholders. Elite career guidance programs operating in the 2026 landscape understand that commanding authority in these high-pressure scenarios is not about having the perfect, rehearsed answer to every conceivable question. Instead, it is fundamentally rooted in mastering advanced psychological frameworks and executing flawless executive presence under extreme physiological stress. The first and most critical psychological framework taught in premium career strategy is the concept of peer-to-peer framing. The historical trend among the vast majority of the American public is to enter an interview inherently adopting a subordinate posture. You walk into the room, or log into the high-definition secure video conference, subconsciously radiating the energy of someone asking for permission to be there. You are operating from a psychological deficit, hoping they will validate your worth and grant you a salary. Elite programs completely and aggressively deprogram this mindset. They utilize intensive cognitive behavioral techniques to reprogram your baseline assumption. You are trained to enter the interaction not as a desperate applicant, but as a highly specialized, independent consultant evaluating a potential business partnership. You are assessing their operational chaos just as rigorously as they are auditing your technical competence. When you genuinely internalize this peer-to-peer framework, your vocal tonality drops, your cadence slows, and your physical micro-expressions project an aura of established competence rather than anxious eagerness. Let us look at a highly specific case study from the current 2026 corporate environment to illustrate this methodology in action. Imagine Sarah, a 39-year-old director of digital supply chain residing in Chicago, Illinois. Using the hidden job market infiltration tactics we previously detailed, Sarah secured what was supposed to be a brief, informal coffee meeting with the chief operating officer of a massive, aggressively expanding logistics conglomerate. However, 15 minutes into the conversation, the COO suddenly leaned back, pulled up her professional dossier on a tablet, and seamlessly transitioned into a brutal, highly technical stress interview, simultaneously pulling the chief financial officer onto a sudden video link to join the interrogation. In a standard scenario, a candidate would immediately spike in adrenaline, begin speaking too quickly, and frantically attempt to justify their past experiences. Because Sarah had undergone rigorous, high-pressure interview simulation with a premium career guidance firm, she executed a completely different operational playbook. She immediately deployed a tactical pause. Her career strategist had scientifically measured her baseline speaking cadence during mock interviews, identifying exactly when she historically sped up under pressure. By intentionally pausing for 3 full seconds before answering the CFO's aggressively framed question regarding a past project failure, Sarah instantly reclaimed control of the room's pacing. She did not become defensive. Instead, she utilized an advanced narrative architecture known as the Context Obstacle Strategy Metrics framework. Rather than simply stating she fixed a problem, Sarah painted a high-definition picture of the macroeconomic context surrounding her previous project. She clearly articulated the specific, disastrous obstacle that was threatening her former company's quarterly earnings. She then detailed the precise, contrarian strategy she implemented, completely avoiding generic buzzwords. Finally, and most importantly, she anchored her entire response in indisputable, hard metrics, explaining exactly how her intervention salvaged $4.2 million in operational leakage. But Sarah did not stop there. Elite career guidance programs train their clients to utilize what is known as the bridge response. Immediately after delivering her metrics, Sarah seamlessly pivoted the focus back onto the executives by asking, based on the recent supply chain disruptions your firm experienced last quarter, how are you currently mitigating that exact same operational leakage? This is the exact moment the power dynamic completely flipped. Sarah was no longer the subject of an interrogation. She was actively leading a high-level strategic consultation. She forced the COO and the CFO to defend their current operational deficits to her. This level of aggressive intellectual sparring is exactly what senior executives are secretly desperate to find. They do not want order takers. They are aggressively hunting for battle-tested problem solvers who can challenge their assumptions without flinching. To achieve this level of unconscious competence, premium career programs subject their clients to rigorous, recorded stress testing. They utilize proprietary AI-driven communication analysis software to forensically audit performance. They will mathematically calculate your exact ratio of filler words, track your eye movement to detect evasiveness, and analyze your vocal modulation to ensure you are not utilizing an upward inflection at the end of declarative sentences, a common subconscious habit that instantly signals a lack of confidence and destroys executive presence. You are repeatedly forced into highly adversarial, unscripted role-play scenarios with seasoned industry veterans who are specifically instructed to interrupt you, dismiss your accomplishments, and aggressively challenge your technical data. You are systematically broken down and rebuilt until your physiological stress response is entirely detached from your cognitive ability to articulate complex strategic value. Furthermore, these programs completely overhaul the closing sequence of the interview. The historical standard of asking generic, polite questions like, "What is the company culture like?" is completely forbidden. If you are operating at an elite level, your final questions must be deeply analytical and slightly disruptive. You are trained to ask questions that force the executives to reveal the actual unvarnished state of the organization. You might ask, looking at your current strategic roadmap for the next 18 months, what is the single greatest structural vulnerability that could prevent this specific team from hitting its targets? Or if I step into this role, what is the most significant, inherited mess I am going to have to clean up in the first 90 days? These highly calibrated questions reinforce the peer-to-peer framing and definitively prove that you are already thinking like a senior stakeholder, deeply invested in risk mitigation. When you execute this level of psychological control, flawless executive presence, and aggressive strategic inquiry, the potential outcomes are radically transformed. You cease to be one of a dozen candidates and become the singular, undeniable solution to their immediate operational pain. The executives leave the room not simply thinking you are qualified, but genuinely believing that losing you to a competitor would be a critical strategic failure. They are completely sold. They are ready to draft the paperwork. But this exact moment of triumph introduces the most dangerous, volatile, and historically mishandled phase of the entire career transition process. The company is now going to present an initial offer, and they are mathematically banking on your relief and your fear of conflict to force you into accepting a substandard compensation package. How do elite career guidance programs train you to leverage the immense psychological capital you just built to systematically dismantle their first offer, weaponize current market data, and successfully negotiate a compensation package that could literally alter your financial trajectory for the next decade? The moment the formal offer is extended is precisely when the vast majority of the American public suffers a catastrophic, highly expensive failure of nerve. Historical trends and compensation data from the last decade clearly indicate that corporate human resources departments are structurally incentivized to acquire top-tier talent at the absolute lowest viable cost basis. This is not a personal attack. It is simply the fundamental fiduciary mathematics of corporate capitalism in 2026. When that initial offer email arrives, or when the talent acquisition director calls with a seemingly enthusiastic verbal proposal, they are banking entirely on your emotional exhaustion. They know you have endured a grueling multi-week gauntlet of psychometric evaluations, hidden job market infiltration, and high-stakes executive interrogations. They are statistically betting that the immense psychological relief of finally securing a concrete offer will completely override your objective financial reasoning, causing you to accept a baseline package that systematically undervalues your newly established market worth. Elite career guidance programs intervene aggressively at this exact juncture, treating the first offer not as a final destination, but strictly as the opening gambit in a highly structured, data-driven financial negotiation. To execute this effectively, you must first completely deconstruct the pervasive myth of the base salary. The average professional remains hyper-focused on the singular, top-line-based compensation number, entirely ignoring the complex, highly lucrative ecosystem of total rewards. Career strategists mandate that their clients shift their focus toward total target direct compensation. This comprehensive framework includes the base salary, but it equally weighs short-term incentive structures like performance-based annual bonuses, long-term incentive plans such as restricted stock units or stock options, aggressive sign-on bonuses designed to offset unvested equity left at a previous employer, guaranteed severance triggers, and even accelerated review cycles. By widening the scope of the negotiation across multiple financial variables, you instantly create vast leverage points that the company may be highly willing to concede, even if their strict internal human resources bans strictly cap the maximum base salary. Consider the highly illustrative case study of Michael, a 42-year-old cloud security architect based in Atlanta, Georgia. In the highly volatile cybersecurity market of 2026, Michael had successfully leveraged his career program's methodologies to secure an offer from a major financial technology firm. The initial offer was extended at a base salary of $160,000, paired with a standard 15% annual bonus target. For Michael, who was previously earning $140,000, the immediate psychological instinct was profound relief and a desire to immediately sign the contract. However, his career strategist immediately initiated a mandated 48-hour communication blackout. During this critical window, they did not base their counter-strategy on Michael's personal financial needs, his mortgage payments, or the aggressive 2026 inflation rates. Corporate entities fundamentally do not care about your personal expenses. Instead, they weaponized empirical, hyper-localized market data. The strategists utilized premium, subscription-based compensation databases, tools completely inaccessible to the standard job seeker, to pull real-time, peer-reviewed compensation metrics specifically for cloud security architects within the fintech sector in the Atlanta metropolitan area. The empirical data definitively proved that while $160,000 was an acceptable median base, a candidate with Michael's specific psychometric profile and proven executive presence commanded a 75th percentile valuation. Furthermore, the data revealed that competing firms were routinely offering substantial, upfront equity grants to secure talent of his caliber. Armed with this indisputable objective market intelligence, Michael was trained to construct a highly calibrated, mathematically sound counterproposal. He did not call the recruiter and ask for more money. Instead, he deployed a meticulously drafted email that explicitly reinforced his immense enthusiasm for the strategic vision of the Chief Information Security Officer he had interviewed with, effectively anchoring his value back to the executive decision-maker. He then presented the empirical market data, stating clearly that to align with the current 2026 market standards for this specific scope of responsibility, the total compensation required adjustment. Because the firm had previously stated their base salary bands were rigidly capped at $175,000, Michael's strategist trained him to pivot the pressure. He requested the maximum allowable base, but aggressively targeted the highly flexible equity pool, negotiating a substantial sign-on bonus and a front-loaded restricted stock unit grant that effectively pushed his first-year total compensation package past the $220,000 mark. Imagine if Michael had simply folded under the pressure of the initial offer. The compounding mathematics of that single moment of hesitation are staggering. Accepting a lower base salary does not just impact your first year. It mathematically depresses every single subsequent annual merit increase, every future bonus payout calculated as a percentage of your base, and the baseline anchor for your next career move a decade down the line. Career guidance programs understand that a successful, aggressive negotiation over a 5-day period can literally secure hundreds of thousands of dollars in cumulative lifetime earnings. They train you to execute a tactical silence, to utilize the concept of your best alternative to a negotiated agreement, and to comfortably sit in the highly uncomfortable tension of a counteroffer without apologizing for demanding your exact market value. Furthermore, elite programs train you to negotiate the structural terms of your employment, not just the capital. They teach you to demand specific performance metrics to be codified in your initial contract. If your bonus is tied to company performance, they train you to negotiate a guaranteed floor for your first year, mitigating the risk of joining a company in the middle of a fiscal downturn. They instruct you on how to secure an accelerated 6-month performance review, completely untethering your upward mobility from the standard, sluggish annual corporate review cycle. You are taught to operate not as a grateful employee, but as a highly sophisticated business entity, securing the most advantageous terms for a multi-year service contract. When executed flawlessly, this methodology results in a signed contract that reflects absolute top-of-market valuation, customized incentive structures, and a profound level of mutual professional respect between you and the hiring executives. You have successfully navigated the psychometric assessments, bypassed the algorithms, dominated the executive interrogations, and secured a highly lucrative compensation package. The contract is signed, the background check has cleared, and your resignation letter has been submitted to your former employer. However, the absolute highest risk phase of your entire career transition is about to begin. The statistics regarding executive failure rates in a new role are absolutely brutal. What specific, highly structured operational playbooks do premium career guidance programs mandate their clients execute during the critical first 90 days to ensure they do not become a highly compensated, immediately terminated failure? The transition from being a star candidate to being an effective executive is one of the most volatile phases in professional life. Historical trends across the United States corporate landscape consistently reveal a startling statistic. Nearly 40% of high-level external hires fail within the first 18 months. This failure is rarely due to a lack of technical expertise. Instead, it is almost universally caused by a failure to navigate the complex internal politics, cultural nuances, and hidden power structures of the new organization. Premium career guidance programs do not abandon you once the contract is signed. They pivot immediately into what is known as the 90-day immersion strategy. This is a highly structured operational playbook designed to ensure that you do not just survive your onboarding, but that you aggressively establish an undeniable reputation for strategic value before your first formal quarterly review. In the first 30 days, your primary objective is not to execute change, but to perform an exhaustive cultural and operational audit. The biggest mistake newly hired leaders make is arriving with an immediate list of fixes. This triggers the immune system of the organization. Long-term employees who have been with the firm for a decade or more will subconsciously, or even consciously view your rapid-fire suggestions as an indictment of their previous work. Elite career strategists train you to enter a state of disciplined observation. They mandate the execution of a listening tour. You are instructed to schedule 20-minute one-on-one sessions with every key stakeholder identified during your networking phase. But this time, the goal is to map the internal political landscape. Let us look at a case study of Robert, a 45-year-old vice president of operations who joined a major fintech firm in Charlotte, North Carolina, in early 2026. Robert's career coach provided him with a specific inquiry framework for his first 30 days. Instead of asking how things work, Robert was instructed to ask questions like, "What is the one thing we do here that makes absolutely no sense but everyone accepts?" Or, "Who is the person everyone goes to when they need to actually get something done, regardless of their official title?" This allowed Robert to identify the informal power influencers, the senior administrative assistants or long-tenured engineers who held massive sway over the cultural acceptance of new initiatives. By the end of month 1, Robert had a comprehensive map of the company's unwritten rules and a list of the most critical operational bottlenecks that were actually causing pain for his team. Imagine if you spent your first 4 weeks at a high-paying new role not trying to prove how smart you are, but identifying exactly where the previous person in your position failed. Most professionals walk into a role and assume the job description is accurate. Elite programs teach you that the job description is a fictionalized document. The reality of the role is often found in the messy, unaddressed technical debt or the fractured relationships between departments. Career guidance programs require you to draft a first 90-day situation analysis. This document is a brutally honest assessment of the current state of your department, which you then present to your superior. This creates a baseline of reality. If you inherit a failing project, you must document its failure early so that you are credited for the turnaround rather than blamed for the initial disaster. During the second 30-day block, the strategy shifts toward what strategists call the early win phase. By month 2, the honeymoon period is rapidly evaporating, and the organization is looking for tangible proof of your value. However, high-level strategic changes often take 6 to 12 months to show results. To combat this lag, career programs train you to identify and execute 3 low-complexity, high-visibility wins. These are problems that are easy to solve but have been irritating the executive team for a long time. For Robert and Charlotte, this involved a simple restructuring of the weekly cross-departmental reporting meeting. It was a 3-hour slog that everyone hated. By applying a more efficient, data-driven meeting framework he learned from his career coach, he cut the meeting time by 50% while increasing the quality of the data captured. It was a minor technical change, but it generated immediate, positive sentiment across 3 different departments and signaled that he was a leader who respected people's time and operational efficiency. The final 30 days of the immersion phase are focused on establishing your long-term strategic agenda. This is where you leverage the trust you have built through your listening tour and your early wins to propose significant, high-impact changes. Career coaches work with you to draft your long-term strategic roadmap. This is not a vague set of goals. It is a granular, metric-backed plan that aligns with the organization's overall 2026 fiscal targets. You are taught how to build an internal coalition to support this roadmap. You don't just present it to your boss. You pre-sell the idea to the influencers you identified in month 1. By the time you officially present your strategy, the key players have already seen it, provided feedback, and feel a sense of ownership over it. This drastically reduces the likelihood of internal sabotage and ensures your initiatives have the momentum they need to succeed. Throughout this entire 90-day process, your career guidance program acts as an external board of directors. You have weekly check-in calls where you debrief on every significant meeting and every political friction point. If a particular director is being defensive, your coach helps you script the exact conversation needed to neutralize the threat. If you are struggling with the transition from a hands-on technical role to a high-level strategic one, they provide the executive coaching needed to stop you from micromanaging and start leading. This level of external support is the ultimate insurance policy on your new career. It ensures that you stay objective when things get chaotic, and that you remain focused on the high-leverage activities that will define your reputation within the company. By the end of your first 90 days, you should have a clear, documented history of early successes, a solid internal network of supporters, and an approved strategic roadmap for the next year. You have effectively de-risked your employment and positioned yourself as an indispensable asset to the firm. But as you settle into this high-performing rhythm, a new, more subtle challenge begins to emerge. In the hyper-competitive market of 2026, resting on your laurels is a death sentence. The very same technological disruptions and macroeconomic shifts that made your previous role obsolete are still in motion. How do elite career guidance programs help you maintain this momentum over the long term? And what are the specific techniques used to build a permanent, personal brand that makes you completely immune to future layoffs or industry-wide downturns? The shift from being a successful employee to becoming an unshakable industry authority is the final, most lucrative stage of the masterclass. What happens when you stop looking for jobs and the market starts looking for you? Transitioning from a highly effective employee to a recognized industry authority is the moment you officially move from being a participant in the labor market to becoming a force that influences it. In the volatile economic climate of 2026, simply doing your job well is no longer a viable long-term defense against displacement. Historical trends in the American workforce show that those who remain invisible within their organizations are the first to be categorized as overhead during a fiscal contraction. Elite career guidance programs understand that true professional security is found only in the creation of a personal monopoly. This is the process of identifying a hyper-specific intersection of skills and experiences that only you possess, and then systematically broadcasting that expertise until the market views you as a category of one. When you achieve this level of authority, the traditional job search becomes obsolete. You no longer apply for roles. Opportunities begin to find you through a pull-based system of inbound demand. The first step in this authoritative transformation is what career strategists call intellectual property harvesting. Most professionals have spent years solving complex problems, but they have never codified their solutions into a repeatable, proprietary framework. They have the knowledge, but it is trapped in their subconscious. A premium career program will force you to sit down and forensically audit your last 5 years of successful projects. They will ask, what was the specific underlying methodology you used to save that project? Can you name the 5-step process you used to de-escalate departmental conflict? By naming and documenting these processes, you transform your labor into intellectual assets. You are no longer just a manager. You are the creator of the velocity scaling framework for mid-sized tech firms. This shift in nomenclature is not just for branding. It changes how you are perceived by the highest levels of executive leadership. Let us examine the case study of Angela, a 40-year-old senior marketing director based in Denver, Colorado. In early 2026, Angela felt her career had plateaued. Despite her successes, she was viewed by the market as a generic, high-level marketing professional, a role that was increasingly being automated by generative creative suites. Her career guidance program initiated an intensive IP harvesting phase. They discovered that Angela had a unique, consistent track record of successfully integrating localized retail physical footprints with aggressive digital-first loyalty programs in the organic food sector. Instead of calling herself a marketing director, her coach helped her rebrand as an omnichannel retail integration specialist for sustainable brands. Once the intellectual property is harvested, the next phase is the strategic content engine. In 2026, your digital footprint is your actual resume. If a CEO or a recruiter searches your name and finds only a static, years-old profile with a list of previous titles, you are effectively invisible. Elite career programs train you to become a thought leader through a disciplined, high-value publishing schedule. This does not mean posting generic motivational quotes or superficial corporate updates. It means publishing deep-dive white papers, case studies, and contrarian industry analyses on platforms where your target decision-makers congregate. Angela was coached to write a series of detailed articles on the predictive failure points of digital-to-physical loyalty loops. She shared real-world data, historical trends, and her own proprietary framework for solving these issues. Within 6 months, the potential outcomes of this strategy began to manifest. Angela wasn't just another name in a recruiter's database. She was the person who wrote the definitive guide on the exact problem that major retail CEOs were currently losing sleep over. When a massive national grocer decided to overhaul their entire customer experience in mid-2026, they didn't post a job opening. Their chief digital officer, who had been following Angela's published insights for months, reached out to her directly on a professional networking platform. He didn't ask for her resume. He asked if she could consult on their specific architectural bottleneck. This is the power of the pull market. By the time they officially offered her a senior executive role, the power dynamic was entirely in her favor. She was the expert they needed to solve a multi-million-dollar problem, and her compensation package reflected that authoritative status. Imagine if you never had to write another cover letter because the last 3 articles you published demonstrated more value than a 100-page resume ever could. Imagine if your professional reputation preceded you in every room you entered because you had systematically built a body of work that proved your competence before you even spoke. This is the ultimate goal of the authority phase. Career guidance programs teach you how to leverage this authority to secure high-visibility speaking engagements at industry conferences, seats on advisory boards, and even fractional consulting roles. These activities do more than just increase your income. They create a diversified portfolio of professional influence. If one industry sector experiences a downturn, your reputation in another ensures that your economic value remains stable. However, building a personal monopoly requires a level of public vulnerability that many professionals find terrifying. Elite programs utilize authority coaching to help you overcome the fear of being perceived as an influencer. They teach you that in 2026, there is no such thing as a quiet professional at the executive level. You are either a visible authority or an invisible commodity. They provide the scripts, the editing support, and the strategic distribution plan to ensure your content reaches the exact eyes that matter. They teach you how to handle industry criticism and how to double down on your contrarian views to further differentiate yourself from the generic corporate crowd. This process also involves a rigorous audit of your professional network. Career strategists help you transition from a network of peers to a network of mentors and power brokers. They show you how to identify the nodes in your industry, the 5 or 10 people who seem to know everyone and control the flow of high-level opportunities. They train you to build genuine, value-first relationships with these individuals, not by asking for favors, but by providing them with the high-level insights and intellectual property you have been harvesting. You become a resource to the most powerful people in your field, which effectively makes you one of them. By the end of this phase, you have moved beyond the job seeker mindset entirely. You have a proprietary framework, a visible body of work, a network of elite power brokers, and a personal brand that is synonymous with solving a specific high-value problem. You have effectively achieved career anti-fragility. But even as you reach this peak of professional authority, there is one final critical component that most people overlook. High-level career success in 2026 is not just about the external strategy. It is about the internal operational systems you use to manage your newfound influence. As the opportunities flood in, how do you decide which ones to take? How do you manage the crushing workload of a high-level authority while maintaining your health and personal life? In the next part of this masterclass, we will dive into the executive lifecycle management, systems that elite career programs use to ensure their clients don't just reach the top, but stay there sustainably. What are the secret productivity and delegation frameworks that the world's highest-paid professionals use to protect their most valuable asset, their time? The transition from being a high-level authority to a sustainable industry leader requires a radical shift in how you manage your cognitive energy and your temporal resources. In the high-stakes environment of 2026, the primary threat to a senior professional is no longer the competition. It is the catastrophic erosion of their own decision-making capacity due to burnout and administrative overload. Historical trends in American corporate leadership indicate that as a professional's market value increases, the volume of noise, requests, and low-leverage obligations increases exponentially. Without a rigorous operational system to protect your time, you will inevitably hit a performance ceiling. Elite career guidance programs address this by installing what is known as the Executive Operating System. This is a collection of high-leverage productivity frameworks, delegation protocols, and biological optimization strategies designed to ensure you remain in a state of peak cognitive performance while managing a massive professional portfolio. The cornerstone of this system is the radical application of the Eisenhower matrix, but calibrated for the 2026 executive. Most professionals spend 80% of their day in the urgent and important quadrant, reacting to crises rather than preventing them. Career strategists train you to ruthlessly outsource or automate any task that does not fall within your zone of genius, that specific intersection of your unique psychometric strengths and high-value intellectual property we discussed earlier. If your time is valued at $500 an hour, spending even 30 minutes a day on administrative scheduling, basic data entry, or surface-level email management is a direct financial loss to your career. Consider the case study of Jonathan, a 48-year-old chief technology officer for a mid-sized healthcare platform in Nashville, Tennessee. By mid-2026, Jonathan was overseeing a team of 250 people while simultaneously building his personal brand through industry white papers. He was working 90 hours a week and his decision-making quality was visibly deteriorating. His career guidance program intervened by implementing a zero-based calendar and a tiered delegation framework. They forced Jonathan to record every single minute of his workday for 2 weeks. The data was shocking. Jonathan was spending nearly 24 hours a week on tasks that could be handled by a junior associate or an automated AI agent. The career program coached Jonathan to hire a fractional chief of staff, a high-level operator whose sole responsibility was to act as a defensive barrier between Jonathan and the rest of the organization. This chief of staff was trained to utilize a red-yellow-green triage system for all incoming communications and meeting requests. Green items were urgent strategic decisions that required Jonathan's specific expertise. Yellow items were information-only updates that the chief of staff summarized into a daily 5-minute briefing. Red items were delegated immediately to department heads with a strict follow-up protocol. This single structural change returned 15 hours of deep work time to Jonathan's weekly schedule, allowing him to focus entirely on the massive database migration and the AI integration strategy that would define his legacy at the firm. Imagine if you woke up every morning and your only responsibility was to make 3 high-leverage decisions and produce 1 piece of high-value intellectual property. Imagine if the crushing weight of 500 unread emails was managed by a system that only escalated the 3 messages that actually impacted your quarterly targets. This is not a luxury. For the modern American executive, this is a survival mechanism. Career programs teach you how to build this human and digital infrastructure around your career. They help you interview and train your support staff, and they guide you in selecting the latest 2026 productivity tools that utilize machine learning to automate your routine workflows, from meeting transcription to complex project tracking. Furthermore, elite career guidance includes a significant focus on biological optimization. In a world where cognitive clarity is your primary currency, neglecting your physical and mental health is a form of professional negligence. Strategists often work with executive health coaches to design cognitive fueling protocols. This involves data-driven sleep optimization, targeted nutrition to prevent mid-afternoon energy crashes, and deep work sprints that align with your natural circadian rhythms. They train you to view your brain as a high-performance engine that requires specific maintenance. For example, if your psychometric data shows you are most creative in the early morning, your career OS mandates a do not disturb block from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., where all external communication is strictly prohibited. Let us look at another scenario involving the 2026 remote work landscape. Consider Mia, a 42-year-old global operations lead for a renewable energy firm based out of Portland, Oregon. Mia was managing teams across 4 different time zones, leading to chronic sleep deprivation and context-switching fatigue. Her career program implemented a symmetric scheduling framework. They restructured her global team's operational rhythm so that all high-stakes collaborative meetings happened during a specific 4-hour window that overlapped across time zones, leaving the rest of her day for deep, uninterrupted strategic planning. They also coached her on the switch-off protocol, a psychological and digital routine to mentally disengage from work at 6 p.m., preventing the slow creep of burnout that historically destroys high performers within 3 years of reaching the executive level. This level of operational discipline extends to how you manage your professional network. As your authority grows, you will be inundated with low-value networking requests. Career programs teach you how to gracefully but firmly say no to 95% of these requests. They provide you with the scripts to redirect people to your published content or to your junior associates. They teach you that your time is a finite, non-renewable resource, and that every yes to a low-value coffee meeting is a no to the strategic thinking that keeps you at the top of your field. They train you to focus your social capital on high-value nodes, those rare individuals who can provide 10 times the impact of a standard peer connection. The potential outcomes of installing this executive operating system are a radical increase in your hourly economic value, a significant reduction in chronic stress, and a massive expansion of your professional bandwidth. You are no longer grinding or hustling. You are operating with the precision of a surgeon. You have the time to think, the energy to lead, and the focus to produce the kind of industry-shifting work that justifies your high-ticket compensation. You have effectively turned yourself into a high-performance machine. But there is a final psychological hurdle that even the most optimized leaders face. As you reach these heights of success and authority, you will eventually encounter a moment where the traditional career no longer makes sense. You will have the capital, the reputation, and the systems in place to transcend the employer-employee relationship entirely. You will face the ultimate decision. Do you continue to climb the corporate ladder within a single organization, or do you leverage your personal monopoly to build a diversified portfolio of income streams, board seats, and entrepreneurial ventures? In the penultimate part of this masterclass, we will explore the equity and exit strategies that elite career programs use to help their clients achieve true, multi-generational financial independence. What happens when you realize that you no longer need a job because you have become the economy? How do you negotiate for equity stakes that pay you long after you've left the building? And how do you prepare for the ultimate professional pivot? The moment you realize that your market value has outpaced the constraints of a traditional salary is the moment you enter the equity and exit phase. In the high-stakes American labor market of 2026, the truly elite professionals are not working for a paycheck. They are working for ownership. Historical trends in executive compensation show a massive shift toward back-ended value, where the majority of a leader's net worth is generated not through their monthly bank deposit, but through the long-term appreciation of equity, carried interest, or performance-based shadow stock. Elite career guidance programs treat your career as a venture capital firm would treat a startup. They teach you to stop trading your time for a flat fee and start negotiating for a slice of the value you create. This is the ultimate hedge against inflation, and the only historically proven pathway to achieving a level of financial independence that allows you to dictate your own terms for the rest of your life. To understand this transition, we must look at the mechanics of equity architecture. When a company hires a high-level authority, they are essentially acquiring a strategic asset. Career programs train you to quantify exactly how much growth or efficiency you are likely to generate. If your velocity scaling framework is projected to add $50 million to the company's valuation over 3 years, why would you accept a $400,000 salary? Strategists teach you to frame your compensation as a performance partnership. You are coached to request a lower base salary in exchange for aggressive, milestone-based equity grants. This aligns your incentives with the shareholders and, more importantly, it removes the ceiling on your potential outcomes. Let us examine the case study of Christopher, a 52-year-old executive vice president of manufacturing, based in Detroit, Michigan. In 2026, Christopher was recruited by a mid-cap robotics company looking to go public. Traditionally, someone in his position would have negotiated for a high six-figure salary and a standard bonus. His career program, however, implemented a vested exit strategy. They coached him to negotiate for a specific percentage of phantom equity, a contractual agreement that pays out a cash equivalent to stock appreciation, tied directly to the successful automation of 3 specific production lines. Because Christopher had built the personal monopoly we discussed in previous parts, he had the leverage to walk away if the equity terms weren't met. The company agreed to a structure where Christopher would receive a massive payout upon a liquidity event, such as an acquisition or an IPO. 2 years later, when the company was acquired by a global conglomerate, Christopher's equity payout was roughly 8 times his cumulative base salary over that period. He didn't just earn a living, he captured a portion of the enterprise value he helped create. This is the difference between being an employee and being an owner. Imagine if you stopped worrying about your annual raise and started focusing on your vesting schedule. Imagine if you looked at every professional move not as a job change, but as an investment in a new asset class. Career guidance programs provide you with the legal and financial frameworks to understand these complex contracts. They teach you about double trigger acceleration, a clause that ensures your equity vests immediately if the company is sold and you are terminated, and how to negotiate for clawback protection, so the company cannot strip away your earned incentives due to arbitrary board decisions. They turn you into a sophisticated negotiator who understands the fine print of corporate finance, as well as any M&A lawyer. But the equity phase is only half of the strategy. The other half is the exit strategy. In 2026, the average tenure for a high-level executive is shrinking. The goal is no longer to stay at one company for 20 years. The goal is to execute a specific, high-value mission, capture the equity, and then pivot to the next opportunity. Career programs help you design your professional sunset before you even start the job. They show you how to build succession capital, the process of training your replacement so that the organization remains stable when you leave, which protects the value of your remaining equity. This leads to the ultimate professional pivot, the portfolio career. This is where you stop having one boss and start having 5 or 10 income streams. You leverage your authority to secure seats on corporate boards, which provide high-fee retainers and additional equity for very low time commitments. You engage in high-level advisory roles for startups, taking equity for advice. You might even launch your own specialized consultancy or investment vehicle. Consider the scenario of Elena, whom we mentioned earlier in the communication and presence phase. By late 2026, after successfully turning around 3 different sales organizations, Elena didn't look for a 4th role. Instead, she transitioned into a portfolio career. She took 2 board seats at emerging tech firms, became a fractional chief revenue officer for a high-growth startup, and launched a private mastermind for aspiring sales leaders. She worked 30 hours a week, but her total income exceeded her previous executive salary by 40%, and her risk was diversified across multiple industries. This level of professional freedom is the ultimate potential outcome of a comprehensive career guidance intervention. It requires a radical departure from the safety-first mindset that is hardwired into the American psyche. Most people are terrified of not having a steady paycheck. Career programs use data and historical trends to prove that a single paycheck is actually the highest risk strategy in a volatile economy. They show you that having one employer is like having a stock portfolio with only one company in it. By building a portfolio of equity, advisory roles, and personal IP, you become truly anti-fragile. However, moving into this elite tier of owner-operators requires a level of sophisticated financial planning and legal protection that goes far beyond a standard resume. You need to understand how to structure your personal brand as a business entity, how to manage your own benefits and retirement systems outside of a corporate umbrella, and how to protect your intellectual property from predatory non-compete clauses that are still aggressively enforced in many U.S. states. Career guidance programs connect you with the specialized tax professionals and employment attorneys who cater specifically to high-net-worth professionals. As you stand on the precipice of this total professional transformation, you have mastered the psychology of the search, the mechanics of the hidden market, the theater of the executive interview, the mathematics of negotiation, and the operational systems of leadership. You have moved from invisible worker to unshakable authority. You are now at the very end of the masterclass. But there is one final, overarching question that defines your legacy. Once you have achieved the peak of your earning power and professional influence, how do you maintain your edge in a world that is changing faster than ever? In the final, concluding part of this masterclass, we will synthesize everything we've learned into a permanent career resilience blueprint. We will look at the long-term habits of the world's most successful professionals and provide the final high-stakes checklist you must use every single year to ensure you never, ever fall back into the trap of professional obsolescence. What is the one thing that the top 1% of earners do differently every December to guarantee their dominance in the following year? The single defining habit of the top 1% of professional earners in the United States is the execution of a rigorous, unsentimental annual career audit. While the rest of the workforce is focused on holiday festivities or passive New Year's resolutions, elite performers spend the final weeks of December performing a forensic analysis of their professional trajectory. They treat their career as a depreciating asset that requires constant reinvestment and strategic pivoting. Career guidance programs formalize this process through a framework known as the Delta Review. This is not a self-congratulatory list of accomplishments. It is a mathematical calculation of the gap between your current market value and the emerging demands of the next fiscal year. If the delta, the difference, is shrinking, you are stagnating. If the delta is expanding, you are successfully future-proofing your livelihood. To execute a permanent career resilience blueprint, you must first commit to the principle of perpetual beta. In the 2026 economic landscape, skills have a shorter half-life than ever before. Historical trends suggest that technical proficiency in specialized software or specific management methodologies now degrades in value by approximately 25% every 18 months due to rapid AI integration and shifting global supply chain dynamics. Elite career programs mandate that their clients maintain a skill acquisition queue. This is a disciplined list of 3 emerging competencies that you are actively learning at any given time. One skill must be technical, such as mastering generative architectural modeling. One must be soft, such as advanced cross-cultural negotiation, and one must be structural, such as understanding new federal tax implications for fractional executive work. Consider the case study of Marcus, the logistics director from Columbus whom we discussed at the very beginning of this masterclass. By December 2026, Marcus had successfully transitioned into his high-level AI compliance role. However, his annual audit revealed a new structural risk. The specific regulatory framework he specialized in was being consolidated into a broader federal oversight committee, potentially commoditizing his niche. Because he was performing a Delta review, he didn't wait for a layoff. He immediately utilized his career guidance network to identify the next high-leverage pivot. He spent the first quarter of the following year acquiring a specialized certification in ethical algorithmic auditing, a field that was seeing a 300% increase in demand, but had almost zero qualified practitioners. Marcus didn't just maintain his salary, he increased his market leverage by preempting the shift before it became public knowledge. Imagine if you viewed every December not as a time to rest, but as a time to stress test your professional foundation. You would look at your current employer and ask, if this company vanished tomorrow, how many hours would it take for me to secure an equivalent or superior offer? If the answer is longer than 30 days, your career architecture is brittle. Elite career guidance programs help you build a resilient scorecard based on 4 key metrics: the strength of your hidden market network, the frequency of inbound executive inquiries you receive, the uniqueness of your personal monopoly, and your liquid capital reserves. This scorecard provides an objective, data-driven reality check that prevents the complacency that historically destroys mid to late-stage careers. The second pillar of the resilience blueprint is the radical network pruning. Over time, professional networks tend to accumulate dead wood, connections that are passive, outdated, or low value. Career strategists teach you to perform a social capital audit every 12 months. You categorize your network into 3 tiers: mentors who provide strategic foresight, peers who provide operational intelligence, and mints who provide fresh perspectives and future loyalty. If your network is 80% peers, you are likely trapped in an echo chamber. A resilient professional intentionally seeks out disruptive nodes, individuals in entirely different industries or younger demographics who can alert them to technological shifts they would otherwise miss. You are coached to systematically reach out to 3 new high-value nodes every month, ensuring your network is a living, breathing intelligence asset rather than a static list of names. Furthermore, you must master the art of the internal stealth pivot. You do not always need to change companies to stay resilient. Often, the best way to future-proof your career is to intentionally volunteer for the most dangerous or experimental projects within your current organization. These are the projects that most employees avoid because they are high risk and lack a clear roadmap. However, these projects are exactly where the new high-value skills are forged. Elite programs teach you how to position yourself as the internal venture lead. By successfully navigating a project that has a 50% historical failure rate, you earn a level of political and professional capital that makes you virtually untouchable during traditional corporate restructuring. As we conclude this 10-part deep dive, it is critical to address the psychological core of career longevity, the transition from doing to thinking. In the early stages of your career, you are paid for your output. In the middle stages, you are paid for your management of others' output. But in the elite, final stages of a resilient career in 2026, you are paid exclusively for your judgment. Premium career guidance is ultimately a journey toward refined professional judgment. It is about knowing which risks to take, which offers to ignore, and when to walk away from a comfortable but declining industry. The potential outcomes of this entire process are not just higher numbers in a bank account, but a profound sense of agency and autonomy over your own life. The historical data is clear. The American workforce is bifurcating. There is a growing class of professionals who are being increasingly marginalized by automation and economic volatility, and there is a smaller, highly agile class of authority owners who are thriving in the chaos. The difference between these two groups is not innate intelligence or luck. It is the willingness to invest in a structured, professional strategy, and the discipline to execute it when things are going well, not just when they are in crisis. You now possess the foundational blueprint that elite career guidance programs charge thousands of dollars to implement. You understand the psychometrics, the hidden market, the high-stakes negotiation, the executive immersion, the authority building, and the resilience systems. Now, you face the most important decision of the entire masterclass. Knowing this information is a competitive advantage, but it also carries a burden of responsibility. You can no longer claim ignorance of how the 2026 labor market actually functions. You can choose to return to the traditional reactive way of managing your career, hoping for the best, applying to job boards, and waiting for your annual review. Or you can choose to become the architect of your own professional economy. You can start today by performing your first forensic audit, by mapping your first 20 target organizations, or by drafting your first piece of high-value intellectual property. The tools are in your hands, the data is on your side, and the market is waiting for someone with the authority to solve its most complex problems. The question is, will you wait for the next disruption to find you? Or will you be the one who disrupts the market? Your professional legacy is not written in the titles you've held, but in the resilience you've built and the value you've consistently captured. This marks the end of our masterclass on career guidance in the United States, but for those ready to execute, it is the beginning of the most lucrative and secure chapter of your life. Every December, while the world sleeps, the elite are planning their next move. It is time for you to join them. If you are ready to take the first step and see the specific templates we use for the forensic audit, our next deep dive will break down the exact document structure Marcus used to identify his missing delta.